Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How's it going?
All good, alhamdulillah. Doing well.
Delayed a bit, I guess.
Yes. Sorry about that. I sent you the link and then my sister called me, so I went. And as soon
Okay.
as I came, I admitted you inside.
No worries. Let's begin. I guess, you were mentioning about accessibility. So I guess let's take a dive into that. Why don't you start about it?
Sure. I think even we didn't talk about this in depth. We didn't get a chance to, so it'll be a little fresh for you as well. So basically, obviously, Allah Alam, God knows best when it started. But I think around 2001, it started that my lower limb started to grow weak over time.
Mhm.
And we've been together in school, and then we also met in Hyderabad. You have seen the progress, right?
Right.
The weakness, how it progressed, and like that. So the reason we don't know, it's different doctors have different opinions, but and also different Hakim, Desi, doctors also
Right.
have different opinions.
Yes.
So the most plausible one that I feel was, like I mentioned, 2001 or something. I got a pneumonia attack, and then
Mhm.
along with that, fever. So that's when it started. So basically, there was a virus that affected on my spinal cord,
Mhm.
on dorsal spinal cord, and that's when the issue started. But back in Saudi Arabia, we went in Aramco. If you remember, 14 years is when we got our own ID cards and we
Right.
got shifted to the adult clinic. So before that, I was, what do you say, sent to an orthopedic doctor. My father took me to an orthopedic doctor, but he did an X-ray. He said, "Okay, it's not orthopedic issue. Please consult a neurologist." So ultimately, when I was 14 and I got into adult clinic, there was one Egyptian doctor, Dr. Banda. He was my chief neurologist. So he suspected something like called multiple sclerosis, which is like a recurring disease. But alhamdulillah, a lot of tests, every test was done. It was all negative. So they, in the end, concluded that it's nothing related to like a disease. It's something local. So once you reach the age of 2021, your growth stops. We will perform surgery and will release the tensed muscles in your legs. That is
Okay.
what they concluded
At which
back
age?
in.
I mean, you mentioned they said that they'll do the surgery. So when did they?
Right.
At what age they said they'll do the surgery?
Once the growth stops, so
Okay.
2021, 20 to 21 years of
Okay.
age. So
Right.
that's when our growth usually stops, our height and everything.
Right.
So that's what they concluded back in KSF.
Okay.
But when we came to India, and in 2015, I consulted another doctor once again. So in this fresh MRI that they took, it was detected that the spinal cord in the dorsal spinal cord at D11, D12 is being compressed. So basically, in simple terms, the signals from the brain going down are being obstructed because of that compression of the cord, and that's the reason my lower limb is slowly growing weak.
Okay.
That looks, but still, you remember back in college, even 5 years of college. My college was 5 stories, and I used to go up and down every day.
Right.
So it
And
was.
I remember very well, like back in when we were in Baghlaf and stuff. We used to play cricket as well, as we discussed in the previous videos. I remember you used to bowl fast as well. You used to run in, and you used
Yeah.
to bowl. There was a little bit of a problem at that point, but it wasn't. I think uh, to this extent, which is right now, I guess, right? It wasn't that
Yeah.
much at that point, but I guess due to the weight increase, the issue has been a bit higher right now. So according to the natural growth, I think that put a lot more stress on it, a lot more weight on it. That's what I felt, you know.
Okay. So
Yeah.
that's why I said in the beginning that this is something fresh between us as well, because we didn't get a chance to discuss it.
Right.
But that's not the case. Yes, definitely that would have some. Definitely, it would have
Minor
some
impact, I guess.
minor effect. But the main reason is because the compression of the cord. The more it compressed, the more weaker the more the signals grew weak, and ultimately the lower limb grew weak. So, but Alhamdulillah, the last MRI we did in 2021, and we did one fresh one last year in November, and this one was done at a very new MRI machine, 3 Tesla. Usually,
Okay.
1.5 Tesla is the standard, but this is
Mhm.
3 Tesla, so it's much more clearer picture and everything. So, alhamdulillah, there is no difference. So the doctor concluded that your compression has stopped. So the compression uh, medically will remain at that stage.
Mhm.
So naturally, whatever you can do and whatever you can achieve, whether like mostly physiotherapy, but also a little bit of medications. Uh, Again, medical terms, mein, this is going to remain, and you have to, get used to it, and you have to work around it. Is what the doctor concluded. And it's since 2020 that I have been a little more on wheelchair.
Right.
That's where accessibility came from, actually. And since in 24, I got a little more into the wheelchair since because when I went to Saudi Arabia the second time in 2024 with my family, I was again struck by a fever, like very high fever, and like I was unconscious for a day or two, I think.
Okay.
So that got that affected much more. We basically speaking, like, and it's understandable. So your the signals are already weak once, and naturally, when we have fever or we get struck by a virus or something, we grow weak.
Right.
So that
Absolutely.
weakness and the weaker signals that basically led to the
I think it
more of
combined and
wheelchair.
put more pressure on it, right?
Yes. So that is where accessibility, the term I kind of started using more and got learned a lot about it, because obviously it needs to be done. Like I can walk a little bit using a walker, but mostly wheelchair because again, walkers say there's a lot of stress on the legs, and that's something I need to lessen, is what the doctor recommended.
Right. I I didn't know about the entire background of this, and I never asked because I was like, it's something that is very personal to you. So I have now gotten to know this through our, uh, you know, through our episodes. But I'm very, this is very inspiring that you have, made this you haven't made this something that stops you from doing anything. You have actually utilized this to fuel yourself, to grow in every sector, alhamdulillah. And it is obviously, if you look at from any other person's point of view, it will be very tough to understand, and I think you must have gone through that as well. But you have, you are growing with it, and you have taken it in your stride, and you're growing with it. Obviously there must be moments where you may feel low, and I totally understand that. But it is inspiring, and you are making accessibility like one of your strengths now. We as both of us, we were discussing like a few months ago, how we can plan and make this as a strength, for as a team we can grow this into a strength, right? through a platform or through providing accessible features to people who are looking for such kind of uh, expertise or such kind of services. So, would you like to tell a bit more about what we have discussed and what options you are looking to keep in this regard?
Right. So, as we discussed, the idea came from my trip because, like I mentioned, after coming back in 2011, it was in 2023 December that I got the chance of flying to Saudi Arabia. Now, of course, locally, I did travel to Delhi. I did travel to Mangalore a lot because my sister is there. But these are, and
Sorry
definitely
to interrupt. We
these,
need to make a trip together as well. You haven't traveled anytime with me.
yeah, we can get it done, inshallah, for sure. For sure,
Right.
absolutely. We'll do that for sure.
Absolutely.
Uh, so when I locally, because when I went to Delhi, that was right after college in 2017. Actually, during college in 16, and then after college 17. So both times I was good enough. Like I started using a stick in 2016.
Mhm.
My first trip to Delhi during my thesis. So me and a couple of my friends we went and. But still, I had enough strength to walk using a stick or maybe with someone's support and everything. So there wasn't any particular need for any accessible options like an accessible putter, everything. Of course, if there is one, that was very useful. Like my father, you have seen in my house, he had installed metal rods on both sides of the WC.
Right. Yes.
So that actually he did it for me, but also for himself. On when we did the ground floor, when we did the first floor, for sure it was mostly for me only. So these were plus points. Like when they are there, good. But when I went in 2023, that time I was like I needed those features a lot more. And
Right.
when I went to Al Khobar, when where we stayed, and when I went around, I went to shopping malls, Cornish and everything. So वहाँ पर I started noticing these things because Al Khobar, especially, I would say, I'm sure other cities also have been made in such a way, at least the new ones. Okay, it's very accessible. Like every curb has a ramp at the end.
Right.
Like I remember, me and my cousins went to a restaurant in Subeha. That's a very
Yeah,
local kind
our
of a
Indian community area, right?
Indian community, yeah, bachelors and everything.
Right.
But even in that, because again, if you to just to mention, if you remember when we were back in Saudi Arabia, there was at certain stage they renovated the entire pedestrian
Yes.
experience. They made the parking paid, and then they, the pura jo pathways the
Right.
footpaths वगैरह को एकदम renovate करके बहुत ही brand new किए थे. So in that particular renovation, that particular update, they added ramps everywhere.
Yes.
So that is the very first part I noticed. Okay, every single street had a ramp at the edge. Of course, the shops did not. Like Bagalak building, if I remember, like there were a few elderly people. They used to come using a stick, and their kids used to, help them. वहाँ पे नहीं
Our
था, and
our uh,
मतलब
our building entrances, I remember they had metal ramps. You remember?
no, they did not have by default, but that is something that the
Your added?
Harris used when he wanted to
Yes.
get some luggage upstairs, some
Yeah.
सामान ऊपर लाने के लिए.
Right.
Yeah, he used to do that. Yes.
Those were they're like metallic ramps, but obviously it wasn't inbuilt. Like I remember the upgrade which you're mentioning about around Baghlav buildings. It happened around that time. It was about 2009, 2010. That's the time when they upgraded the entire sidewalks and they added those ramps. And I think from that time, I think they started upgrading and started providing features which suited people who had accessibility requirements. And I think right now I think it's around 16 years now. I think it should be much more. You mentioned you were there in 24, so I guess what is the difference from then, our time when we were there, like 2010 till 2024, what difference did you see? Like, how much improvement would you say?
So one thing I will say, okay, back when we lived in Saudi Arabia, uh, I don't know about you, but I never really roamed around so much. Like the only mall we used to go to in the beginning was the Rashad Mall,
Right.
and then later on a few more came. Hoover Plaza, it was just across the street, across the
Right.
Burla building, and later on during our time, Dharan Wall came, which was a very huge mall, if you remember.
Right.
It's a single floor, but it's so huge. So at that time, again, like I mentioned, उतना घूमे नहीं थे,
But I
और
remember
अगर
one
घूमे
thing, I just want to add, like, yeah, we used to go to that masjid, uh, the underground masjid, Khobar Plaza. You remember you used
yes,
to come regularly there as well. So it was really convenient. I think we both were used to be there, and I remember on the way back, I always used to have that shawarma from there. Uh, you know,
yeah,
that shawarma just beside, I think the Hober Bakery was there. So
yes,
it was just on the way to the Hober Plaza. So yeah, we and very easily I remember that your the accessibility issue wasn't there much. It was really in control, and you used to come to every salah. And at that time, mashallah, that was the time, I guess, uh, you changed. You changed a lot because before that. It was you were a different Asim, I would say.
अच्छा,
Uh,
alhamdulillah.
yeah, then because I wouldn't see you much in the I obviously went with dad and stuff, and then uh, dad also mentioned, Asim is also coming. You should also go because at that time it is uh, y- somebody needs to be there to push you because in teenage it is not automatically in your system that okay go to salah or go to prayer and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But I think that was you got that from Allah,
definitely.
that you
Yeah,
used to be, used to come yourself, I guess. So, mashallah, that was a good thing, and I saw that change. I guess it was around 2008, 2009. I'm not sure exactly. You can tell that story as well, how it happened in the next one.
sure, absolutely. Yeah, I love her. I love her. Just to give a little, context of it, definitely staying with, our friendship, our parents, most definitely, primarily, and our neighbors. Sajid Rabbani uncle, especially because he used to call us for various small gatherings at a
Right,
space.
right,
And also, you could remember in the Baghlaf Masjid building, वहाँ पर भी बुलाते थे. So बहुत
right,
definitely है. So बहुत सारे चीज़ों की वो definitely ultimately primarily अल्लाह के तरफ से हिदायत भी समझ लो.
right.
But alhamdulillah that
And I think the environment helps, like from with whom you are surrounded. Especially you had, Chacha in front of you. So that was there, and mashallah, my influence was there, obviously.
mashallah, absolutely. Yes, yes. Yeah, I remember we used to go to different
But
houses. I
I
remember a
wasn't
couple
that,
of times.
I wasn't that into it at that time. I'm still not that much into it, but I try to be a good person as much as I can be.
We all try our best,
Right.
definitely. Obviously. तो अपन कहाँ से ले गए? तो बेसिकली जो मैं
कहाँ से कहाँ
डिफरेंस
चले
बता
गए?
रहे थे।
Right.
Alhamdulillah, definitely.
Everything
That's
is
what that
interconnected.
definitely that's the purpose of our conversations.
Right.
It's unscripted docs. You can't really, follow a script.
Right.
Right. So comparison when you asked back then, even if there were, I didn't notice these issues. But this time when I was myself needing accessibility, like when I was needing a ramp of, for wheelchair and everything and an accessible washroom, obviously I started noticing this much. And I stayed in Al Khobar, I stayed in Riyadh with my cousin, and I also stayed a few days in Jeddah with one of my other cousins. Riyadh में फिर भी मैं घूमा Riyadh में KFD, the King Abdullah Financial District. It's brand new, so definitely that's very accessible. It's amazing. Like we parked on the upper floor on the parking, and then we came all the way down to the the Grand Mosque in the middle of the plaza in KFD.
Mhm.
So that was very good experience. And even I think now that the metro is there, the metro as well is very accessible. Inshallah, if we get a chance, so we'll try to experience that as well. So Al Khabar, lekin it stood out for me in these terms because every street, like I mentioned, even on Subair ke streets, maybe there is a ramp. And Cornish Pe, every washroom in Cornish Pe, there are public washrooms, if you remember.
Right.
Again, the Cornish upgrade happened when we were there, like the first upgrades. And then after that, hote ab काफ़ी ज़्यादा upgrade हो गया. So Cornish Pe, every washroom that's there, there is one separate accessible toilet. But these are actually universal norms. But a lot of countries, cities don't use it. But Al Khobar, I noticed, I'm sure other countries, other cities are across the kingdom as the Middle East as well. Like Dubai, Abu Dhabi, they for definitely will do it.
Right.
India में खास तौर पे सिर्फ shopping malls में, airports में ऐसे जगहों पे obviously they do uh, follow it because it's a standard. You have to do it.
Right.
But apart from that, streets पे खास तौर पे Delhi mein, yes, because I think it's the capital, and especially the core area of Delhi, like the the Parliament building वगैरह है, and that area I again noticed के the roads, streets, all roads, they have ramps, and they also have those tactile flooring which are for blind people, where they
Oh,
feel with
okay.
their stick and walk. Yeah.
That's new. I didn't know about
So
that.
right, because when we went for our thesis case study, we went to a couple of places like the Indian Habitat Center. That's where the CEO office is also there. So वहाँ पर गए थे, and a couple of other places. तो वो पूरा area अच्छा बन के है. Definitely capital है और prominent area है बोल के. So that's when I started noticing, and I myself, in my personal experience that I stayed in these three cities, Al Khobar I found most accessible, and I even on my page, Accessible Explorer, which is tagged in this series of ours, I have shared these experiences. And it was during these times when I recorded, I had a couple of recordings, I made a lot of recordings. So when I came back to India, I was like, "Arey, this is good and it can be, spread. Like people, we can spread the news, we can spread the word amongst the people. Okay, uh, accessibility क्या है and उसके लिए क्या कर रहे हैं और so on and so forth. And when I started as a personal page, but then when we conversed, if you remember, a year ago regarding this, so we both came up with the idea, okay, that this can be made into an official thing, like instead of just a personal profile page, like a influencer kind of a page, we can make it something more and something publicly, open and accessible. And that's when we came with Explorable.
Right. Exactly. And I think obviously we're still working on this to
Yes.
come up with what services and what benefits can we can provide to people who are looking for this. So yes, definitely, I think this can play a huge role if we do it right, if we put it in the market the right way. Uh, because there are as we went through the you know uh, the statistics, it was about um, I think about one fourth or some population. I think it was. I'm not sure the exact numbers. It was 500 million or half a billion people who are looking for who are in various ways. It is not in just one way or the other. It could be different manners which they require accessibility. So this, I think, in the way we are working on it, we would like to provide a platform for those people to have easier access to specific public or private institutions like hotels, or it could be you name it. It could be bus passes or flights or anything related that could help people with accessibility.
Yes. So when you mentioned hotels, hotels are the key reason why I got into this because there aren't they're not properly listed for a lot of hotels, even 3 star, 4 star, 5 star for sure. They have accessible rooms, but they haven't properly listed even on their official websites. That's one thing. And of course, the platforms like Make My Trip or Agoda or Book My, Booking.com, even these platforms I've noticed that they have not focused on this particular aspect. So that's the primary reason. Because in 24, when I went to the kingdom and we stayed in Medina and Mecca,
Mhm.
it was very difficult to find hotels budget friendly hotels are accessible, which do have rooms. When we went there, we found out that okay, these hotels they do have accessible rooms.
Right.
They can from when we are going from here, uh, there wasn't any good information available on either in any of the platforms. Agoda is one that I found कि जिस पे थोड़ा बहुत है, लेकिन उसमें भी उतना clearly नहीं है. So the
So
hotels is
what
the
I
primary
understand,
reason.
sorry. So what I understand is there is not much clarity, even if the product is there in the market. There is not much clarity. There could be number of platforms which are providing these services
Yes.
to the entire globe, but specifically aligned to people who are looking for accessible features. There is no single platform which is doing that, or even if they are doing it, there's no proper perfect clarity which gives peace of mind to the specific client that this is what you'll get when you arrive there, right? This specific accessible feature is included in your room, or this accessible feature is included with your seat, right? So there has
Right.
to be, I think, for peace of mind for, uh, you know, for that particular individual who has that accessibility issue, uh, you need to have that clarity and before leaving home, before traveling on a long trip, or going on a journey. So I think that's the gap which is in today's day and age is something that
Yes.
we need to provide a streamlined platform. And I
Yes.
think that's what we are trying to do. And that's how we look at it, right?
Right. Exactly. XplorAble is mainly for that. Like you mentioned, there is no streamlined platform. There are many, but specifically aligned to this particular aspect, focused on it. There isn't. So that's what we are trying to do, inshallah, with XplorAble to provide exclusively whatever features, whatever services for people. Yes, primarily focused on wheelchair users, but also definitely to others as well. We'll get into
Right.
uh, with time, because wheelchair is something that is the basic, you can say, in physically challenged people. Apart from that, there are many challenges that people face. लेकिन ये सबसे simple and सबसे basic है, समझ लो, and this is something I think if this is fulfilled, then ultimately a lot of people will be helped with it. And it's not just physically challenged; even elderly people
Exactly.
require these services.
Yes, absolutely. So let's close this for today. Yeah, take care, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, and do follow XplorAble to learn more about it.
Bye, Faiz.
Allah Hafiz.